590 KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Front Stretch, brought to you by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Booking, prices, hours, so much more. It's online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. You can also give them a call, 712-256-5278. Fully staffed. We're all back in the studio for the first time, and God knows how many weeks have we all been, well, I guess it was just you and I took some time off.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I've been here.
Yeah, all I can say is hot damn, I'm ready to go. I'm all fired up.
We are ready and excited. I mean, today the chase begins. Finally, all of this preparation, all of this talk, all of this wild card scenario, it's done. It's locked in. We've got our 12.
Hold on there, Skippy. Hold on, Skippy.
I'm ready.
Get your panties out of your butt crack. But what
says Mr. Bubbles' shirt?
Yes, says the guy in the Mr. Bubbles shirt. Now, obviously, everybody heard I wasn't here last week. I didn't get to hear much of the show, but if you guys can make it in a nutshell, who's in the chase, who was a wild card, who didn't make it? Because I missed all that.
We'll get there.
We're going to talk about it more into turn 4. We'll break it all down into turn 4.
Kurt Busch did not make it.
Yes.
Hot damn.
Hot damn.
Yeah, that's what it's going to look like at the Joe's Karting.
And hot damn for all of our listeners, because we are going to set a date one of these days, and I'm gonna talk you into it. We're going to do it at the Holiday Horsepower Drive on November 4th, right?
Something like that. We ain't doing it that day. I can tell you.
We're going to do it that day. Fire suit, pink tutu, and all. Bud's going to take a lap because you lost the bet.
In the tub.
And let's recap for everybody.
I don't remember the bet.
Well, allow me to recap for you.
We got it on air.
I've got the recording, so you're not getting out of it.
What the listeners don't know is we went over to Quaker Steak and Lube there, and we had one of them 3-foot-tall lube tubes.
No, we didn't.
And Dan got a little inebriated, and he came up with this whole bet thing.
Yeah. No, actually, we were sitting in the old studios, and it was the very first show, and we were talking about the whole Kurt Busch going to Phoenix Racing. How are they going to do? And Bud says he's going to make the chase. He's going to contend. He is going to take that team to the next level because he is that good. And there was a heated argument between you and I said it doesn't matter how good you are when your engine blows, when your brakes go, when your tire blows, when your drive shaft goes. The number of things that will go wrong with a race car mechanically, it does not matter. When your car does not run, how good of a driver you are. And you swore up and down I was wrong. I swore up and down you were wrong. So we came up with the bet. And it was your idea. You said to me, if Kurt Busch makes the chase, Dan, you got to race around Joe's Karting in a pink tutu. Andrew then came up with the idea of you got to do it in the bathtubs. So I said, fine. You took it even one step further and you said, no, not only is Kurt going to make the chase, he's going to make the top 10. Well, let me just pull up the current numbers.
And you know what?
I'm not totally wrong here. He did take Phoenix Motorsports to the next level. I mean, when's the last time Phoenix Motorsports had a third-place finish in a NASCAR race?
You know what? He took them to a whole new level to the point where they're not going to be racing in 2013.
Well, he probably tore up too much stuff.
Exactly.
And honestly, when Mark Martin runs 17 races and is 7 points behind Kurt Busch, who raced them all.
Yeah. That's
everybody's got bad luck.
No, Mark Martin's that good.
Oh, dear Lord. Mark Martin's got $40 million behind him. Kurt's got, what, $10?
And listen, let's face it, Mark Martin is at an organization that's on the up and the up. I mean, this was my basis all along. I even said, I mean, Kurt Busch is a great driver. His two biggest issues this year is his attitude. That's what landed him at Phoenix Racing, is his attitude. And the other thing is, Phoenix Racing just simply does not have the R&D, the research and development that it takes to compete at the next level. And in any other sport, talent can overcome other issues. But in NASCAR, it just simply comes down to the fact that you have got to have top-notch product as far as the car is concerned. And you got to have a top-notch driver. When you don't have one of the two or none, you might as well close shop because you're not going to make any money. You're just going to be losing money left and right. Kurt Busch right now 25th in the points, not in the chase.
Yeah, but how many people are actually in the points overall?
12.
No, I know in the chase.
Oh,
in the points overall.
79.
So top 25 out of 79. He's top 25% of the field, roughly. That's all in all, it's not bad.
But
But
he is the last car to have raced a full season. Mark Martin raced 17 races. I'm sorry, never mind. David Gilliland ran a full. He's 25th of probably 28 drivers that ran a full schedule.
You know what's really exciting about this? It sucks. You know, being a team owner and a driver, and I think you can agree with this a little bit. What really it sucks that Phoenix Motorsports won't be around next year. But how many doors does this open for Kurt Busch? And I mean, you could name one of many. I got an idea where he could possibly go next year, and you guys would probably laugh at me and say I'm completely retarded and bet me in a 2-2 in this one.
If you're going to say Richard Childress Racing, we already talked about it.
You're kidding me, right?
No.
That's exact.
Yeah, you saw it on the same site I get my news from.
No, I seriously have not. Well, think about this. Who's he got for drivers that were always fiery, hot-headed? Because I was thinking about this.
And then Harvick are the only two you need to say.
Well, yeah, that's the only ones I can think of. And I'm sitting there at Boone in the truck sleeping, after a good night of drinking and other festivities that were going on. I got to thinking, well, I don't know what's going on. You guys are here in the studio talking all this. I didn't have my laptop with me, so I can't research all the stuff.
You could still hear us on the radio.
Yeah, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Andrew, you've been to Boone. You don't go to bed till 8 a.m.
Well, yeah, you listen to the show and then you go to sleep.
Come on. A little dedication out of you, would you?
I figured you'd at 10.
But let's get back to your point, though. You're saying that Richard Childress, and we talked about this on Sunday also, that Richard Childress has had fiery drivers in the past. There is a distinct difference between Dale Earnhardt Sr., Kevin Harvick, and then Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch is disrespectful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he's got a complete attitude issue that Earnhardt and Harvick don't have. They don't like to get messed with on the track, just like Kurt Busch. They will retaliate. They will stick up for themselves, and they will have their. I don't have an issue with drivers that fire up and they have issues with other drivers, and we have that kind of drama stuff. But when he starts threatening a member of the media that he's going to kick their quote unquote ass. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
And that's where his issue is, and I think he's going Front Row Motorsports next year. I don't think Richard Childress will be able to find the sponsorship to open up a fourth team.
Well, I was talking to a sport mod team from Chillicothe, Missouri, and we were talking about some of the NASCAR stuff, and they listened to us here on the front stretch, and we were talking about Kurt Busch, and I did mention the 2-2 bet, as I call it, and they were laughing and whatnot. And the guy from Chillicothe, it was actually him that brought it to my attention. Well, look at Richard Childress. That is, quintessentially amongst all the car owners, there's a bad boy right there. He ain't going to take no gruff. He's going to put you in your spot. And I totally forgot about this, but didn't he get in a fight here like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that?
He punched Kyle Busch.
Oh, okay.
It was last season in the pits because Kyle Busch kept wrecking his cars. And so he went down off camera and where nobody could see him, put him in a head. And this is the rumor. Nothing's been confirmed, but put him in a headlock and just started kind of going Nolan Ryan on him.
Wouldn't that be weird now if Kurt Busch is driving for...
Kyle Busch.
If Kurt's driving for Richard Childress and Kurt's like, brother, you touch me, my car owner's going to whoop your ass.
I think Kyle Busch has got enough issues on his hands right now. He doesn't have to worry about that.
He's got too many people wanting to beat his rear end.
Yeah, well, great show lined up for you today. We're 8.5 minutes into it, and we haven't even previewed the show. In turn 4, we're going to break down the chase a little bit more. We're also going to preview Chicagoland, first race in the chase.
The Windy City.
A lot of stuff on the line. This is the first of 10 races, and as far as it comes with the chase, you basically get one mulligan. That's about it. Unless you do what Tony Stewart did last year, where you rattle off 50% win ratio, you get one mulligan. And so today could be it for a lot of drivers. We'll talk about that. In turn 3, we're going to interview Buddy Ray. Yep, we're going to interview our own.
The legend, Buddy Ray Jones.
Our interview for today fell through. We were working on a World of Outlaws interview for the race coming up at Eagle this Wednesday, but that was unable to happen in time. So instead, we're going to talk Boone Super Nationals. What happened? Did you actually get arrested? We'll talk about that coming up in turn 3. In turn 2, it's the Fast 5. 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. But before we get to all of that, we are knee-deep in turn 1, brought to you by the Auto Connection in Lincoln, 21st and P Street. Call Kevin and all the guys over at the Auto Connection. Get your car in full working order. The seasons are starting to change. We've seen it all. We've seen incredibly hot conditions, very low rain. And now we're starting to see everything start to cool down a little bit. So make sure your heater core. I talked to you last week, Andrew, about our heater core is going to go. Those things just kind of seem to fail all of a sudden.
Yes, I mean that's a goofy part that it just like you said, it's kind of a goofy part. We don't sell a lot of, but when it happens, it's like I want to suggest. Is it compressor? Is it controller? And then all of a sudden, once it gets down, okay, it must be your heater core. So yes, you said.
That is probably the worst thing in your car to go. As far as comfort goes. I mean, I can stand not having an air conditioner because then I'll just head down the interstate 70 miles an hour with my window down. But I've had my heater core go before, and it was sub-zero temperatures. Driving down the interstate at 65, it gets a little chilly in that cab.
And I'll tell you personally, firsthand, I've done about 4 heater cores in my vehicles before. They're not fun to replace because you got to tear the whole dash apart. So you don't want to get stuck in the winter with your pants down around your ankles with a heater core that don't work. So you want to make sure you get that fixed right now.
Get to the Auto Connection. Talk to Kevin and all the guys over at the Auto Connection in Lincoln, and get your car in full working order. Preventative maintenance is always cheaper than a full-on repair. And thanks to Auto Connection for being such a great sponsor. You can give them a call today, 402-477-8200. Well, coming up this week, since typically we talk and we recap races, we were at Richmond, we set the chase, and we broke everything down on Sunday morning as we did our live show. So instead this week, let's talk what's coming up locally. We've got 2 big races coming up locally here in the Omaha area. One of them coming up Wednesday is the World of Outlaws at Eagle Raceway, who has come on and been a sponsor for us this week. And you can get your tickets at eagleraceway.com. There's also discount tickets available at all Napa stores. You can get $5 off your tickets. So get to any Napa participating Napa store and get yourself some tickets. The World of Outlaws. This is the makeup race from earlier in the year, and this is the big boys. This is Craig Delansky. This is Steve Kinzer. These are the big boys that are going to be there, and you better believe Dan Taylor is going to make an appearance. I know.
You got a lot of racing doing this weekend.
I tell you what.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I'm going to be a little bit busy, but you know what? What else are you going to do? Sit at home and twiddle my thumbs?
Yep.
Not going to happen. So then on Friday night, we've got the Midwest Fall Brawl. It's the first of 2 races that are going to set the championship points for the ASCS Midwest Championship. And then on Saturday night, a king will be crowned. Both of those at I-80 Speedway. Races at 5 o'clock and gates at 7. Gates open at 5 o'clock. We're going to start hot lapping. I believe, Andrew, we're going to start hot lapping about 7:15.
Yeah, something like that.
And then racing's going to get started about 7:30. So between 5 and 7:30, you got plenty of time to get yourself a bucket of beer, get yourself all greased up and ready for some great racing. And then you guys are going to crown a champion there at I-80 Speedway. You can get more information, i-80speedway.com, or you can give them a call, 342-3453. You'll talk to Lee Ackerman himself. Get yourself some tickets. And that's going on this Friday and Saturday night at I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, just off exit 420 on I-80. The Midwest Fall Brawl. It's going to be some great racing, and I can't wait to get there and watch it. I think I'm going to be there both nights, because your dad talked about there is combo night passes, right?
Yeah, there is combo night passes. Yeah, and they're dirt
combo
cheap.
Night.
Yeah.
Well, you can buy tickets for Friday and Saturday night for cheaper than buying them for Friday night and then coming back and buying them Saturday night. That's actually
a smart deal. I mean, that is a smart way of making it affordable to go to the races. I mean, this is one of the last races at I-80 other than the Classic. I mean, this is going to be, wow. In the sprint car battle, how close is that with the ASCS Midwest Point Series? I mean, it's going to come down to the wire.
Since Stu fell out, it's going to be a real big race. I'm happy to be there. I think you're going to be there racing Friday.
Yep, I'm going to be there
Saturday
in the B-mods.
Watching the crown, so it should be pretty good to watch.
But this is Turn 1, presented by the Auto Connection in Lincoln, 21st and P Street. We just got done talking about it, but we need to hit them again because they're such great sponsors of us. Turn 2, just around the corner, the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. We'll be right back. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Next to AMC Theaters, the IMAX there in Council Bluffs. Also in the same vicinity as, Mid-America Center, Bass Pro Shop.
Ruby Tuesdays.
The casino. What is that? Harrah's? Horseshoe. God, it hasn't been Harris in a long time, but Horseshoe Casino, Bluffs Run, what it used to be, whatever, Yep. Down on that 23rd Ave area. Nice development area. What is going in behind there, by the way?
Well, there was an ongoing joke that was going to be the new Joe's Karting facility. And we had so many people convinced that was going to be the new Joe's Karting facility. That's actually going to be a Plum Rose processing plant. And what they're going to make there, and I'm so happy for this because I can eat now, they're going to make deli meat.
Oh.
They're bringing in great big, rounds of meat, and they're just going to shave it right there. So I met the plant manager. It's like, well, I can go buy me some of that fancy Rotella bread and jar of mayonnaise. Come on over and get fat. Yeah. So he's like, sure, come on over.
Well, 23rd Ave in Council Bluffs. Have you guys gotten the Google map fixed yet? Because for some reason, last time I checked, it sent you to another part of town. It sent you to like North Council Bluffs rather than right there next to the interstate.
Well, people I've talked to have never had a problem with Google Maps. We get Google Mapped all the time.
Okay, so you can Google Map it. It's the easiest thing to do if you haven't been to Council Bluffs. Very easily to get on. Just take the interstate, I-80, east into Iowa, get off on 23rd, head all the way north, and it kind of curves around after they did that new reconstruction, and you'll see it right behind the Holiday Inn Express, right?
Yep, right. You can't miss it.
Great little location. Get yourself some go-kart racing in. The thing I love the most about your karts is you guys don't have governors.
No.
And I cannot
We took those
stand.
off just to see you go fast, and you still haven't gone fast.
Yeah, it scares me. I get a little frightened, but I love it when I go to like the Ozarks with my family on vacation, and you hop into the go-karts, and everyone's all ready to go, and then they throw the green flag, and you're
going the speed of smell.
Right. You take off like a champ, and also
you hammer it, and you're like, oh, I'm getting some real okay.
I can walk faster than these things run.
No governors at Joe's Karting. Get to them today, 23rd Avenue, online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Well, the Fast five stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. Let's start off with the first one. Good news for all of our female listeners. Dale Jr. is not getting married.
Dang it.
Oh, jeez. It's so good that he's not getting married. Dang there was reports earlier this week through Esquire magazine, of all people to start reporting on NASCAR, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is getting married to his longtime girlfriend. Well, he said Wednesday at Chicagoland during interviews that is completely false. I am not getting married. So don't worry, women. You still have a chance.
I don't want to be.
Does he have a hot girlfriend?
Yes.
I've never seen her.
I don't think I've ever seen her either. I mean, I've seen him. He's
how have you seen his hot girlfriend?
Listen,
and we're racers, and we haven't seen her.
It's my responsibility when I'm talking about a story to do the research and to make sure I understand what's going on. So I felt it was important to look her up.
Yeah.
What's number 2?
Okay. Well, the penalties for the 27 team have been upheld. And I'm sure that's against their wishes, but
if they were the 48 team, they'd been withdrawn. But whatever.
The penalties came from a post-race inspection. God knows we've never had those at a NASCAR Research and Development Center. But way back on August 21st, here about 3 months ago, following the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event at Michigan.
Wait, 3 months ago? August 21st.
It's 3 months for me.
It's September 16th.
August, October, July, September. Yeah, that's 3 months.
A little under a month ago.
Yeah. That's a lifetime for me.
Anyways,
RCR appealed, said penalties, but they were upheld. They lost 2,500 points. Paul Menard, who's that again? He lost 25 driver points. I don't think that was a big deal with the top 12 in the chase there. Crew chief Richard...
Labby.
Okay, because I read that way wrong.
Labby.
Car chief Craig Smokestad.
Yep.
And crew member Grant Hutchins. They've been suspended for 6 weeks from NASCAR competition. That seems to be the normal, and will be placed on probation until December 31st. I don't know what penalties were. I mean, I've been gone for weeks. I don't know what penalties we're talking about here.
I can't even remember. Let me look it up real quick.
Andrew, you ever been caught with a penalty after a race? I have.
You know what? The only penalty, honestly, I've ever had is weight. That's it. Just I've come across scale 3-5 pounds light a couple times, but I've never been.
Typically, they just kind of slap you on the wrist. They make sure you can get DQ.
No, I've been sent to the rear end of the field, and I've got my butt chewed multiple times that whole week. It happened.
I would imagine one of them butt chewings had to come from Papa.
Yeah, he's a little bit bigger than me.
Yeah, grasshoppers are bigger than you.
Well.
But I've been in that area before, and it's not fun. But it comes with the game, and after a while, you just kind of get like, yeah, okay, all right, thanks for the slap on the wrist.
Here's the penalties from NASCAR: actions detrimental to stock car racing. That's a typical one. If, in the judgment of NASCAR officials, race equipment that has been previously certified or previously approved by NASCAR for use in an event pursuant to subsection 8-12, has been altered, modified, repaired, or changed in any manner. Internally modifying previously certified frame rails for the purpose of deceiving. Whoa.
For all the rednecks out there, they did something wrong.
I just remembered what the penalty was. They had unapproved frame rails.
You know what?
They had purposely modified them.
Let me tell you why that's a big deal real quick.
Well, please enlighten us why changing the frame is a big deal.
The raised... Now, I don't know if this is what they did, but in dirt track racing, especially in the modifieds, in the A mods and the B mods, I'm not going to name the chassis manufacturer here, but about 3 years ago, back in 2009, there was a chassis manufacturer that was taking the right side frame rail, raising them up, and it was making the cars roll over. And our rules state you cannot alter the frame rails if you do that.
Just like what it does is it changes the weight distribution so that the car rolls through the corner better.
It doesn't change the weight distribution from a static standpoint. It changes how the car works through the corners. And NASCAR and IMCA, the two biggest bodies in racing, they have frame dimensions and whatnot. So that's a very, very big rule.
That's one of those blatant ones. And I joked that if it was the 48 team, they'd have gotten away with it, but the fact of the matter is the 48 team got their penalties removed because, first off, NASCAR did not go through the procedures properly as far as testing the C-post, and the other thing is that's a gray area right there with the C-post. Frame rails, not so much of a gray area.
You can now I will say this, there are some gray areas within the frame rules, but you got to know what you're doing to get into that gray area. So the frame rules, that's a major violation.
Right. So again, car driver Paul Menard lost 25 championship points. Car owner Richard Childress lost 25 championship points. Paul Menard lost 25 driver points. Crew chief Richard Labby lost a $100,000 fine, suspended for 6 weeks on probation, along with crew chief Craig Smokestad and crew member Grant Hutchins. They were both suspended for 6 weeks and placed on NASCAR probation until December 31st. So that's kind of a big penalty for those guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Andrew, what's number 3?
Oh, it looks like we got some pit crew and crew chief changes in the Richard Petty Motorsports Garage. Mike Ford will now crew chief for Marcos Ambrose in the 9 car, and Todd Parrott will now crew chief for Eric Almirola in the 43 car. Both crew members of each team, basically, they're going to go with their crew chiefs, so they're going to flip-flop crew chiefs and crews, which I think that's kind of smart because I think a team that works with their crew chief needs to stay with that crew chief to the end of the year. So, what's
the advantage here, guys? We've got 10 races left in the season, and Marcus is 15th in the points. He's out of the championship. He's out of the chase. Give me the advantage to switching right now.
They're prepping for next year.
I couldn't have said it better.
You think this is going to be a permanent switch?
They'll see.
Right now I have my dad as my crew chief, but let's say I've got somebody who's been around in racing in the dirt track world more in depth than my dad, and my dad's really good at what he does. But if I had somebody like Todd Parrott coming over and I'm this late into the year, let's give the last 6-7 races a shot. Let's see what we can do. And so then all of a sudden, if I go from being an 8th, 9th place A feature runner to 4th, 5th place, hey, well then that's a wake up call. We gotta.
You got something for next season.
We got something for next year. So if you're not in the chase, you still want to win the races, but now you're building for the future.
Number 4 in the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. Gordon's going old school here. I like Gordon's attitude the last week. Ever since he won at Richmond and he's punched his ticket for the chase, he seemed to have a little bit of a swagger. And he said this week that he is going to bring back the stash, because when he had the stash, he had his winning ways. I know that there is nothing behind growing a mustache and winning, but there is a mental sense to it. Do you think this helps Gordon in any way? Maybe he gets a little bit more aggressive?
I think, like you said, Gordon's had so much swagger these past couple of weeks. It's been phenomenal. He is going to be tough in the chase, and I agree. You saw how pumped he was after he made the chase. It's going to be...
His celebration,
like he won the race.
I know, his celebration was almost like Clint Boyer's.
If I'm Gordon, I struggled all year. I barely squeaked into the chase. Now, if I'm Gordon, do I want people going, well, man, you barely squeaked into the chase? The last thing Gordon wants to do is fall off right now. So he's going to push that extra mile to really prove that he earned the spot in the chase and he is a true chase contender.
Well, and I don't think after you watch that race at Richmond, anybody's saying he squeaked into the race. That man straight up earn that position.
That might be that night, but all the races up until Richmond, one could say, well, the team's really struggling. It wasn't too long ago we were questioning if he was even going to make the chase.
I don't think the team struggled at all. I mean, they had their issues. They had their races where they just plain gave him away, but I think it was more mechanical, and it was just simply bad luck that put him that far back in the points.
I'll give you that, bad luck.
I like the stash. I think it looks horrible.
Bring it back.
He's much better, clean-cut kind of a guy, but I think he needs to get more aggressive, and I think he needs to get a bit of his pre-4 championships ways back to him.
Well, look at Old Smoke. He gets a little stubble. He starts winning.
He's better when he's got attitude.
Oh, yeah.
And all these drivers
You get that gruffy, stubbly look, that 5 o'clock shadow going on. You're like Paul Bunyan in a race car. Get the hell out of my way.
I'm a firm believer that if Mark Martin wasn't the nicest guy on the track, he'd have 2 or 3 championships under his belt.
He needs a stash.
He does.
We got to give him something.
What's number 5?
He would look like a 5'2" skinny Tom Selleck out there.
Buddy, what's number 5? We got to get this wrapped up.
All right. Following Kansas Speedway's track reconfiguration, when they repaved it earlier this year.
Repaved and redesigned.
Yep. NASCAR added a practice session on October 17th. I would love to see this.
Well, you're going to get the chance.
Free to fans. That'd be sweet if I could. But free to the fans, and practice is designed to give the teams more of a shot at looking at their car setups, their engine issues, stuff like that, before they go racing the Hollywood Casino down there October 21st. For more info, if you want to check that out, and I highly suggest, Dan, you and I were at Kansas, top-notch class act facility. The employees down there are so super nice. Go to kansasspeedway.com. We had the president on the front stretch here earlier this year.
And we're gonna work on getting that again.
We're going to work on getting that again. This is cool. I mean, I think Kansas is probably one of the most underrated and not talked enough about tracks on the circuit.
Here's the thing. They do everything right. Their facilities are remarkable. It's easy to get in. It's easy to get out. It's a great location. There's plenty of food around it, and it's a great atmosphere.
And there's a casino off turn, too.
Let's not lie here. I mean, the racing has not been the best the last couple of years.
It's just been the most boringest races, and I can't wait to see this new design at repavement. I hope it's going to be awesome. I hope racing is going to be good, but yeah, it has been just boring.
Do you think, Andrew, that the repave reconfiguration of Kansas could end up in some ways backfiring?
I don't think it could get any worse.
No, but do you think we could almost have another Bristol situation on our hands?
Well, I like Bristol, so I hope so.
Yeah, but drivers are saying, well, they were wanting to bring the racing lane down more near the bottom. Well, all of a sudden, guys started running the outside wall and making it stick, and the drivers were loving it.
The biggest problem Kansas had is that when you got out in front in that clean air, you checked out.
I mean, they could go without a yellow.
And they did several years in a row. We went 23rd. We went for 80 to 90 laps in the April race,
and
where Johnson
yellow.
And the thing is that right before the caution came out, Johnson was still putting seconds down on the field, and it's interesting during the restarts. But as soon as that car gets clean air and gets a good straightaway, it's done. It's not interesting anymore. So hopefully this redesign will make it to where that clean air isn't as valuable. That is the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. We'll be back with Turn 3. We're going to talk with Buddy Ray about the Boone Super Nationals. This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
You're listening to The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. Brought to you by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to The Front Stretch. This is Turn 3. The Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. joeskarting.com, karting with a K. We keep talking about it. You got to get to Joe's today. Get yourself some fast-paced white-knuckle racing in while you can. Open Monday through Thursday, 2 to 6?
No.
2 to 10.
No, we actually went back to our winter hours because school's back in. So
it's September. I forget.
Yeah. School's in now. You're a little old to experience that nowadays, but yeah, 4 to 10.
Well, when I didn't really experience school.
We're now open. I want to clarify that. We are now open 4 to 10, Monday through Thursday, 4 to 11 on Friday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday, and still noon to 8 on Sunday. But that doesn't mean that, hey,
if you got a special outing?
Yeah, if you got a special outing and you want to come in at noon, hey, I just did one for the Eaton Corporation out of Shenandoah. They're coming in here in a couple weeks. They're going to come in about noon, have a little bit of dinner. I got another company, inside Joe's. We don't actually have big old meeting rooms. We just got the big, large commons area. They're going to be bringing about 25 people in for their company. They're going to sit down. They're going to have some Famous Dave's stuff catered in. I'll just give them some quiet time.
And you arrange all that, too. They say, hey, listen, we would like to have Buffalo Wild Wings, Quaker Steak and Lube, Ruby Tuesdays. One of these places cater in.
Yeah, and it's so funny because people are like, well, what can we do for food? And I was like, the sky's the limit. I mean, I could price you out 100 different options. Can you kind of narrow it down to a couple things? I mean, I don't know what you want to do. Do you want to just satisfy some people, or you want to do a full course meal here?
Well, this is Turn 3, typically where we interview a driver that is out and about in the circuit for the week. But we decided this week, you know what? You have come back from the Boone Super Nationals.
What an experience.
Let's talk a little bit about that experience. I wasn't able to make it down there, so what happened? Did you actually get arrested?
Boom. Well, let's just say there's people at Walmart and people at Boone on Facebook. This year, I did not get kicked out of Walmart like I did last year.
Attaboy.
So that was a plus. Did I get arrested? No. But I do know some people that did get arrested, which will remain nameless. And I do have to do a shout out to Ryan Butler, my weekend track manager, Josh Most, Nicole Peterson. I'm not really trying to throw out a whole lot of names here, but let's just say there were some rowdy people that took a dirt bike out on the racetrack at about 4 o'clock in the morning, started putting ruts into the track. IMCA confiscated the dirt bike, and Ryan Butler went MI Mission Impossible on IMCA, and they retrieved the dirt bike, and what are they going to do now? They can't do nothing. So,
well, not now, not since you outed him.
Well, no, I mean,
great. Now we're gonna get a call that Ryan's in jail, and now you're gonna have to work weekends.
That ain't gonna happen. He'll hire somebody else. Can I have my employee back?
No, Boone. You know what, Boone? Last year, I went for the very first time I watched, and I was like, you know what? This would be kind of cool. I think any racer worth his salt as a racer, and I'm not calling anybody in particular out, but race Boone one time, because it is some of the toughest, hardest racing. Andrew, you and I were just talking. I seen guys show up with some of the best stuff money can buy in any division: sport compact, sport mod, late model. That don't mean two hoots as to how you get in the big dance and how you do. It comes down to pure lady luck. And I noticed that the racing was, you go out to I-80 or you go out to Eagle or Butler County or Shelby County Speedway or, Adams County Speedway, and the racing is fast-paced, it's intense. You got some of the best racers in the Midland, right here in our backyard, and that's special. But when you went to Boone, I remember I was watching the 3L Clint Llewellyn. The very first race, I was scared to death for my car because this guy turns around right in front of Clint. Clint's right there on his back bumper. The guy turns around, spins out, stalls. Clint's in his right rear or left rear quarter panel, and he never lifts off the throttle. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go out there. My car's going to get tore up. And they're like, Bud, when you come to Boone Super Nationals, you cannot lift. If you lift and you stop, it's yellow flag. You're a part of it. You have to go straight to the pits, and it's all and to get into the big show, it's all done on passing points. So you have to treat every single time that you're out there on the track, you have to drive over the top, almost aggressive. You're like a predator out there. And here we go to I-80, and we're gentlemen about it. We'll try to give each other room. There, you don't do that. You lift, you're done. I mean, it is some of the toughest racing I've ever seen in my life. So
talk a little bit about the track, though. What's the track like? Size, banking?
I would imagine that the track, I ran a 583 gear, my sport mod with a crate motor. I would liken it almost to Sunset Speedway for our listeners out there that listen to it.
Okay.
It's kind of like a small 3/8, they say it's high banked, but I don't think it's as high banked as they make it out to be. I mean, there is some respectable banking, but it's not like Eagle Raceway style banking by no means. Mm-hmm. It's a fast track, real smooth. They run, 10, 12 races at a time, and then they'll all go out there and they'll track prep the track. And first few races, it tends to be a little slimy, a little muddy, but then by the 10th race, it gets to be a little dry and dusty and slick. And to me, that was really cool because you're sitting there and you're watching the race lineups and you're going, well, I'm in the 14th heat race. But, this is on the third session. They just got done farming, so we're going to be in that transition where the track's going to be going from slimy to tack, and maybe by the end of the race it might start. So you really have to be on your game when it comes to the chassis setup. But still, you could have one guy that makes a mistake right in front of you. You have no choice but to pretty much go right through them. I'm not saying that everybody's out there driving over cars and tearing stuff up on purpose, because that's not what it is. But the intensity is something that you have to see. I told a lot of people after my experience of racing at Boone, last year I went and watched, this year I went and raced and watched. You go to Boone as a boy, you come out of Boone a man for other reasons, and it taught me a lot about racing. So now I'm excited to go to I-80, to go to Eagle, to go to Shelby County for these year-end specials, because I'm going to take some of that mentality that I learned at Boone, and I'm coming to our home tracks now. Now I can see guys. I see why Jesse Sobbings is as good as he is. Jesse Sobbing didn't tear nothing up. He didn't get into anybody. He did kind of get, I guess, screwed in the big show, but... Are
you sticking up for your boyfriend?
Yes, he's very mad. I knew he'd have to show up with Jesse Sobbing here.
Well, no, but what I was getting at, you get guys like Dylan Smith, Chris Abelson, Jesse Sobbing, Shane Hyatt, the guys that run up front week in and week out. When they go to these big shows like this, there's where they're getting their mentality. I mean, yeah, the seat time helps, but when you go to these big shows where you can't lift, you have to go in there, you have to be confident in your abilities, and you have to get the job done by all means. Now I see why Jesse's so damn good in what he does. Thank God he's going to A-Mods next year.
So let's sum it up a little bit. Had a good time?
Oh, dear Lord.
Come on, let's hear the dirty.
Are you fully recovered?
Oh, actually, I'm still a little tired, okay. But I will give you some numbers from what I heard. Their pay-per-view went a brilliant move on IMCA's part doing the pay-per-view. From what I heard, there was tens of thousands of people that bought the pay-per-view.
Oh.
From what I understand, the rumors were, I haven't been able to talk to Brett, 50,000 plus people came through the gates during the course of the week. 890 race teams showed up, all-time record for Boone. I can tell you the longest thing I've ever had to do in my life is race at Boone, though. We went out for a heat race. I believe it was 12:30 in the morning. I was thinking of you guys because I knew you were in bed.
Oh,
I wasn't.
Nice.
You weren't?
No.
This was on Monday.
What night?
This was on Monday night, 12:30. I'm going out for my heat race. I come back in. There's 20 heat races, followed by 10 C features. I'm in the 8th C feature. I go out for my C feature. I took my phone with me. As we're rolling out, I look at my phone. It's 5:45 in the morning.
You pulled a Brad Keselowski?
Oh, yeah.
You put the phone in the car.
Oh, yeah. So then I come back into my pit stall, and I thought the glare from the track, I thought I saw the glare on my visor, and I opened up my visor, and if I be dang, it was the sun coming up. And that's when you know that's a long night.
You guys had a pretty healthy rain delay in there too, right?
Well, yeah, and that wasn't IMCA's fault. We did have about a 5.5 hour rain delay.
I just want to remind everybody, we did use the word rain. It rained a little bit. Yeah. Not here.
Yeah,
not here.
Let me tell you about Boone. Other than snow, I saw every major weather factor you could see. It was the weirdest. A lot of people said it was the weirdest Boone Super Nationals as far as weather, because Monday and Tuesday night it was so damn hot. You needed AC late at night. Well, Wednesday night comes. Or no, it was Tuesday night. Tuesday night we got rain, so nobody was, we were all up so late. Monday night there was no party atmosphere. Tuesday night the rains came, no atmosphere. Wednesday night there was no rain. A-Mod showed up. Yeah, the party scene was, well, that's wow. Thursday night, the races got over about 1:30, 2 o'clock. We had 60 mile an hour wind, heavy rain, and we had golf ball size hail and 60 mile an hour winds. And if you talk about scary, sitting inside of an enclosed trailer, you could just see the dollar signs racking up in poor guys' eyes. They're like, I just drove, 10, 12. Some of them drove 24 hours to go to Boone, and their stuff's just getting tore up sitting in the pits. Once again, it's not IMCA's fault. Friday night, it was a good show. Saturday night, the features, wow. We're talking 3 wide, 10 rows. That's how they start them. And the racing was just amazing. Jeff Anderson in the hobby stocks, number 78, he was just wow. That's all I can say. Brandon Bocklinger from BMS and the A-Mods, he led the whole feature until the very last lap. Jeff Taylor in the 5 car came around him. He got got the checkered flag. Adam Armstrong out of Beatrice, he picked up a big win at the Super Nationals. The party atmosphere, though, I could tell you some good stories that happened. That was.
Did legend Buddy Ray come out?
No, but I do want to say thanks for all the people, and this is really cool. I know, Andrew, you tell me every week you have people that come into Kaziski Auto Parts and they listen to the show, and Dan, you've had some people, you've told me you've had people. I just want to say thanks to all the people that came up, and I was asked if you guys were there. They're like, you're Buddy Ray, you're with the front stretch, and I did wear the front stretch jacket.
Yeah, you got to wear it.
I got to wear it. It was cold as hell a couple of nights.
Are you going to pay me for it, or?
Well, we might one of these days.
Okay.
I tell you what, I'll pay you for it if I don't have to do the 2-2 race.
No, no, you're doing it both. You're going to pay me, and you're going to do the 2-2 race.
One of the funniest things, now, everybody that's gone to Boone, always knows that there's good stories that come out of Boone. One of the funniest things I ever heard or seen, Andrew, you saw pictures of this?
Keep it quick. We got to wrap it up in about 10 seconds.
Okay, go ahead, wrap it up.
Okay, we're turn 4 just around the corner. If you want to hear the story, go back to our Facebook page, listen to Slingin' Dirt. This is turn 3, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch. Just the final turn. We're about ready to take the checkered flag. This is turn 4, salvaged by Kaziski Auto Parts. 50th and I Street. Get to Kaziski Auto Parts today. If you're looking for quality used parts, get your car or truck back on the road. Give them an experienced salesperson at Kaziski Auto Parts a call. 3-4, I don't know what numbers those are. 402. 402-731-4592. They're also located 50th and I Street. Did they finish up that construction yet?
No, they have not. It's terrible right now. It's driving me nuts.
Now, you can still get to it when you're headed west on L.
Well, right now they kind of got it both tough to get to. You can get to it, but it's right now they got both sides.
Probably the easiest thing to do is pull into the Kmart parking lot and use that access road.
I'd use that, yep.
Okay, so get to 50th and I Street, pull off into the Kmart parking lot, go down and see Andrew's shining face. He will help you find whatever part ails you, and they are going to be cheaper than when you go to your large competing parts stores, because they have got to make as much money as possible off each and every part as to where Kaziski Auto Parts. Small business, they prefer that the customer walks away happy. 50th and I Street, you can give them a call, 731-4592. Well, guys, we talked about it last weekend. I know, Bud, you were busy at the Boone Super Nationals drinking your memory away. So let's kind of recap a little bit what happened at Richmond. Real briefly, as far as the wild card was concerned, walking into it, Jeff Gordon was 13 points out. He had to finish, he was 12 points out. He had to finish 13 places in front of Kyle Busch, or 12 places in front of Kyle Busch if he won the race.
You know what's so damn cool about this wild card? It was more interesting, and it was a lot funner to watch the wild card race than it was the actual points.
That's what I said. What am I going to do now?
Yeah, it's like, come on, NASCAR, I want my fix. Give me another give me a wild card for the wild card.
Kyle Busch has poor strategy. I think just simply they didn't pit when they needed to. There was disagreement between him and his crew chief. And I cannot remember his crew chief's name all of a sudden. But Kyle said we need to pit. Crew chief said, no, we're not pitting. And that ended up being kind of the...
Wasn't Kyle that had Addington last year? Or was that Kurt?
No, that was Kurt.
Okay.
That was Kurt. Although Kyle did have Addington at the beginning of his career at Joe Gibbs Racing. So, anyways, Jeff Gordon, absolutely dominant car at the end of the race, had absolutely nothing at the beginning of the race for anybody. He was a horrible car. Even though he qualified second, he just went backwards from then on. After the rain delay, worked on his car, and they made all the right calls, and that was a winnable car. I think he had the car to beat Clint Boyer, even though Boyer comes home with the win. Gets his second win of the season.
That a boy.
Where was you at, bud?
But... Gordon brings home the second place finish. He finishes far enough in front of Kyle Busch to overtake Kyle and get himself that final chase position, the final wild card. And to all of our chagrins, we all said Jeff Gordon had to win at least 2 races to get into the chase. Well, he simply raced in not only with just 1 win, but he raced in with
determination and talent.
And he brought it in on points. So great for Jeff Gordon. I think he is the most excited driver right now.
He's got to be.
Hands down, he's the most excited.
I think he's got the biggest advantage to anybody right now because he's that pumped right now. I really think confidence is a big key in this chase.
You have a 4-time national champion with a head full of confidence and swagger coming into the last few races of the year. Oh, that's a deadly combination.
Yeah. Denny Hamlin walks into Chicagoland today with the points lead. He's got 2012 points. He's got a 3-point lead over second placeman Jimmy Johnson, and the only difference between the two, I think Denny's got the Mighty Mo on his side, winning 2 of the last 3 races. He's won 4 races all season long, so that's the reason why he is your current points leader. Real quickly, if you were to look at the current point standings, you look at your top 12, who would you say are your top 3 to win this series?
My top 3, Denny Hamlin, no. Jimmy Johnson would have to be in the right up there. Clint Boyer.
No. I'm not saying who's up there. Who's going to win it? Who's going to finish second?
That's what I'm saying.
Who's going to finish third?
Right up.
Tell me who's going to win it. Who is going to win?
Oh, you want to know who's going to win?
Who's going to finish third?
Who's going to be finishing third? Top 12. Ooh, Dale Jr. Dale Jr. third.
All right, who's second?
Second, I'm going to go Tony Stewart. I think he's going to fall. I think he's going to come alive, but he's going to fall short. He's going to peter out at the end.
Okay, so who's going to be your 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion?
Oh, Jimmy Johnson.
Andrew, who did you have? I forgot.
3 Hendricks cars. Starting in third is the 24. Second's the number 5, and winning it, Jimmy Johnson.
You're both going with Jimmy Johnson.
Well, just because you don't like him.
It's not that I don't like him.
It's like Keselowski. I got finishing.
Honestly, I don't think. I just don't feel it with Johnson right now. I just don't feel it. My top 3, I'm going Gordon finishes third.
You have to assume Jimmy Johnson's going to win it because he's more consistent than Denny Hamlin.
You don't have to assume. He's not more consistent than Denny Hamlin. He's got more top 10s, but
well, that's more consistent now, isn't it?
No, it's not. He's got more wins.
How many top 10s does Hamlin have?
13.
And Johnson's got what?
17.
17 top 10s.
Here's the big thing, though, and I think this is what is going to seal it for Johnson. He has not finished a restrictor plate race this year. Talladega and Daytona, both Daytonas, he wrecked out. I think that's going to be a major concern for those guys. And I think that's going to be where Johnson starts to lose his grip on the lead.
Okay. As a professional, fine-tuned racing athlete, I'm just telling you that it's going to be Johnson, Stewart,
Is this
Dale
the same
Jr.
guy that predicted Kurt Busch would finish in the top 10?
Well, yeah, but Lady Luck got involved.
Is this the same guy that said that? Is this the same guy that said that Dodge would not be leaving NASCAR?
When did you say that, Andrew?
Is this? I think it's. Yeah, that was you that said that. Okay, so what was that finely tuned? Never mind. My second place finisher, I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski.
You're kidding me.
That's exactly what I was like. What grade of Colombian crack are you smoking?
We just talked about it with Jeff Gordon that swaggers everything, and there is nobody.
I will tell you why Keselowski will not finish second because he's too damn busy taking pictures on his phone when he's driving.
He'll wreck.
He'll wreck. You know what?
Once or twice.
He will wreck.
I bet you he wins 2 races, but he'll wreck 2.
I think he's good for 3 wins. But
in the chase?
But
I say 2.
I'm going Tony Stewart.
We know.
Back-to-back championships. Well, no, because I've been a Stewart fan since I've been in NASCAR. So that's not really what a bandwagoner is. My reasoning behind Tony Stewart is because his last 10 races have been a lot better than his finishes. He was contesting for the lead in several of those races and was wrecked or had something unfortunate, unlucky happen. It has not been talent and it has not been car setup. It has been Lady Luck that has set him back, finishing the last 4 races outside of Richmond. He finished 23rd or worse, but that's because it was wreck, it was engine blown, it was wreck, and I can't remember what the 4th one was.
Speaking of smoke, not to change subject here, but real quick, I seen Office Depot has dropped smoke.
No, they didn't drop him. They're reducing their sponsorship obligations. Okay, well,
reducing. Yes, they're not going to be the primary. Don't you find it ironic that this was announced a week and a half after he threw the helmet at Kansas?
No, I don't find it ironic at all.
Do you think that played a role in it?
Not at all.
No.
See, I think it does.
Not at all. Not at all, because he's not Kurt Busch. He's not Kyle Busch, to where there has been a consistent issue with him doing stuff like this. He threw that helmet, and then he did everything he needed to afterwards to mend fences and to do the right thing. This is something that they didn't walk up to him and say, you know what, we're done. This is something that I think they've been working on for a while, and it's just that they're going to reduce their sponsorship because they are his primary sponsor, and it takes a lot.
I understand it takes a lot, but I could see Office Depot going, look, they're going to word it to where, we're just going to go different ways, or we're not really fitting each other's images anymore. They're going to word it something.
They're not going separate ways.
Well, no. When's the last time you ever walked into First Data and seen some chick throw a chair at another chick?
First Data?
First Data Resources out of Omaha.
Oh yeah, I go in there all the time.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
What I'm saying is the image within the office place, Office Depot. Most offices are going to use Office Depot.
Okay.
Do they want an image of Tony Stewart throwing a temper tantrum at Matt Kenseth? Do they want that image being stuck with their product, is what I'm saying, the image behind it?
I think that he is more of an ambassador for Office Depot than he is a negative. I think I'm obviously biased, but and they said it in their statement. He has been a fantastic ambassador for our image,
overall,
for our organization, and for what we want to do. But right now, and where we're at with our company, we need to reduce our commitment with Stewart-Haas Racing. I think this has nothing to do with that. Absolutely. Oh,
I was just asking what
I'm telling you. I think it has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Okay, fair enough.
Unlike other drivers, where we're seeing a lot of drivers that because of their personality, they're losing sponsorship. And I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to work in the offseason to replace this.
How big is your personality in comparison to your sponsorship dollars?
What, in comparison? You mean how do they work together?
Can you have all the money in the world but have a bad personality, or can you have a good personality and not quite have all the money in the world to make it work? Do they both have to be almost parallel? You have to have a good... you said this is such a sponsor-driven sport, which it is, but if you have an arse as a driver, does that work in today's sport?
The thing is that when you get sponsorship from an organization, you're not just putting them on the side of your car. You are now a spokesman for that brand.
So that brand's going to want a good spokesman,
exactly.
Somebody who's not a hot-headed, ill-tempered son of a gun.
Why do you think Carl Edwards has so many sponsors, and yet Matt Kenseth has nobody? Hardly anybody. He has, 7 races
Matt
this
Kenseth
season.
is not a hot-headed, ill-tempered kind of guy.
Yeah, but this is how he talks.
He's not the most flamboyant and well-spoken person. He's kind of a quiet guy that just goes out and races. And it just comes down to the simple fact that winning doesn't do it enough anymore.
And that's why I'm asking, does that go hand in hand with your sponsorship dollars?
It does.
Okay, that was my question.
It does. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Actually, we need to end it. We've gone a little bit over. So, Chicagoland predictions for today. Last year's winner at Chicagoland, Tony Stewart, his first of 5 wins that he rattled off in the chase. Who do you guys have for winning today?
Jeff Gordon with the confidence boost.
Well, since we can't pick Jimmy Johnson and Gordon is my pick, I'm gonna go with Clint Boyer.
That was going to be who I was going to pick him, and I was like, Jeff Gordon.
Well, Gordon ain't going to make Jordan. I want to change my top 3. Gordon's screwed now. Bud just picked him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Since Bud picked Jimmy Johnson to win the championship, he's probably going to finish 12th.
Yeah.
So way to go, Bud. Way to curse them.
The Bud curse.
I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr. as the winner for today.
That's good.
He's going to get a win, but I think that's going to kind of be his pinnacle for the season. He'll remain consistent through the rest of the chase, but I don't think he's going to do much. That's my picks for today. Chicagoland in just a few hours. We'll be back next weekend to break down what happened at Chicagoland. We'll also preview what's going to happen at New Hampshire for the second of 10 chase races. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.